Welcome to Storytime. Here at Storytime, we read stories for children, and at the end of the story, I'll share with you important life lessons learned in the story that you can apply to your life. In today's story, we'll learn why it's important to use common sense when solving problems. Welcome to Storytime with Miss Diamond. I am Miss Diamond and I love reading stories to children. And I'm excited to bring you today's episode. In this episode, we are reading the story A Fool and His Shoes, which talks about using common sense. Before we get started, be sure to click on subscribe so you can see all of the episodes of Storytime with Miss Diamond. And remember also to click on the notification bell so you'll be notified whenever a new episode is ready for you to read along. So are you ready? Let's get started. The vocabulary word for today is embarrassed. It has two sets of double letters, spelled E-M-B-A-R-R-A-S-S-E-D, embarrassed. Let's try that again. E-M-B-A-R-R-A-S-S-E-D. To be embarrassed means to be uncomfortable and self-conscious about something. For example, if you go to the store to pay for something and you get up to the counter and you don't have enough money to pay for it, you might feel a little embarrassed or self-conscious, like everyone is looking at you because you don't have enough money. Or let's say you have on a nice outfit, a brand new shirt or dress, and you're eating out and you spill something on it. You would feel very self-conscious, again, like everybody may be looking at the stain on your shirt or on your blouse, and you would feel embarrassed. So let's listen to the story of A Fool and His Shoes and listen for the vocabulary word, embarrassed. Once upon a time, a poor farmer decided to buy a new pair of shoes. He was so excited, he grabbed a measuring tape and measured his foot. He then wrote the measurements on a piece of paper. He walked all the way down to the shoe store and asked the shopkeeper to show him a pair of shoes. The shopkeeper asked, "What size do you wear?" The farmer immediately slipped his finger into his pocket, but he did not have the piece of paper that he wrote the measurement down on. He rushed out of the store while the shopkeeper stood there and looked puzzled. He walked all the way home to get his measurement and ran back to the store with the piece of paper. By then it was late in the evening, and to his disbelief, the store was already closed, and he stood there terribly upset. Someone passing by on the street asked him, "What's happening? What's the matter?" He told him how he had forgotten his shoe measurements and went all the way home and came back, and the store was closed. The passerby asked, "Did you plan to buy the shoes for someone else?" The farmer replied, "No, they were for me." The passerby said, "For you? How foolish! You could have tried the shoes on yourself to figure out what size you wear. You did not need measurements written down on a piece of paper for that, for your own foot." The farmer felt embarrassed, realizing that it was common sense that he really forgot more than anything else. So that's the story of the farmer and his shoes. So why was this farmer embarrassed? In his mind, he had a great plan. He measured his feet and was going to take his measurements down to the shoe store. I imagine that this farmer obviously did not buy shoes on a regular basis, and if someone asked him, he would have no clue what size he wore. So he was doing his bit of preparation so he could answer the question. I wear this size right here. He was so determined to stick to his plan. When he got there, and the shopkeeper asked, "Well, what size do you wear?" and he went in his pocket and didn't have a size, his plan was interrupted. So what does he do at that moment? He could have simply thought, well, I don't have this sheet of paper that I wrote the measurements on. What can I do? He didn't think of another plan. He didn't think of a plan B. Instead, he only remembered his original plan, so he ran all the way home and all the way back just to get this piece of paper. Well, he didn't need the piece of paper because he had his 2 feet there with him. If he had just stopped for a moment and used some common sense and said, okay, well, I forgot the paper, what else could I do? He could have even said to the shop owner, I took a lot of time this morning to measure my feet because I haven't bought shoes in a long time. The shop owner would have said, no worries, you look like a size 10. Let me bring out a size 10 and we'll start with that. The size 10 could have been too small or too large, and he would know what size to try next. What do you think the life lesson is in this story, boys and girls? When something goes wrong, when your plans don't go the way you expect them to, do you freak out and run all the way home or try to make that original plan work? This story suggests that you go with a plan B. Well, what else could you do? You forgot this important book, or you forgot this note, or something didn't go the way you expected. Take a moment to think about it. Think to yourself, well, what am I going to do now? What is my plan B? Perhaps you talk to another person if they're involved and tell them what happened. This is what honestly happened. I knew I was supposed to do this. I meant to do this, but it didn't go that way. And perhaps you two together can come up with a plan B. You can use your common sense and decide the next best thing to do. So that's the message of this story, The Farmer and His Shoes. And remember, boys and girls, when things happen, there's no need to feel embarrassed, to feel so self-conscious like everyone's looking at you. It happens to everyone. It happens to all of us. Just remember to keep going and use good common sense. Now, if you like this story, do me a favor, hit the subscribe button and also click on the notification bell. This lets me know that you're enjoying the stories, and I will continue to do more episodes of Storytime with Miss Diamond. Remember that Miss Diamond loves you very much. Big hug to everyone who stuck with me to the end of this story today. I love you very much, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode of Storytime with Miss Diamond. Bye for now.